The sun was setting over the city skyline, casting a warm golden glow over the bustling streets below. In a small, cozy apartment on the 12th floor, Mia sat cross-legged on her couch, her laptop balanced precariously on her knees. She was scrolling through yet another dating app, her fingers swiping left and right with a mix of hope and frustration. It had been 2 years since her last serious relationship, and while she had tried to stay optimistic, the endless cycle of first dates that led nowhere was starting to wear her down. Mia was 28, a graphic designer with a passion for photography and a love for indie music. She had a close-knit group of friends, a job she enjoyed, and a life that, by all accounts, was pretty good. But there was a void that no amount of work or hobbies could fill, a longing for someone to share her life with. Someone who would understand her quirks, laugh at her jokes, and be there for her when things got tough. As she swiped through another profile, her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend, Lily. "Lily, girl, you're not still on that app, are you? You've been at it for hours. Take a break and come meet me for coffee. I have news." Mia sighed and closed her laptop. She knew Lily was right. She had been obsessing over the app for far too long, and it wasn't doing her any good. She grabbed her jacket and headed out the door, the cool evening air a welcome relief from the stuffy apartment. The coffee shop was just a few blocks away, and Mia found Lily already seated at their usual table, 2 steaming cups of coffee waiting. Lily was the kind of friend who always knew what you needed before you did, and right now, Mia needed a distraction. "So, what's the news?" Mia asked as she slid into the seat across from Lily. Lily grinned, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I met someone," she said, her voice barely containing her joy. Mia's eyes widened. "What? When? Who is he?" "His name is Alex," Lily said, her cheeks flushing slightly. "We met at that art gallery opening last week. He's a photographer, and we just clicked. We've been talking nonstop since then, and he asked me out on a proper date this weekend." Mia felt a pang of envy, but she quickly pushed it aside. She was genuinely happy for Lily, but it also made her own dating struggles feel even more pronounced. "That's amazing, Lily," Mia said, forcing a smile. "I'm so happy for you." Lily's expression softened, and she reached across the table to squeeze Mia's hand. "Hey, I know it's been tough for you lately, but don't give up. You're an incredible person, and the right guy is out there. You just have to keep putting yourself out there." Mia nodded, but she couldn't shake the feeling of doubt that had been creeping in. "I just don't know what I'm doing wrong," she admitted. "I mean, I've been on so many dates, but none of them ever go anywhere. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." Lily shook her head firmly. "That's not true. You just haven't met the right person yet. And maybe you need to change your approach a little. You know, try something different." Mia raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Lily leaned in, her voice lowering as if she was about to reveal a secret. "I've been doing some research, and there are some really great dating tips out there that could help you. Things that are specifically tailored for 2025. The dating world is changing, and you have to adapt if you want to succeed." Mia couldn't help but laugh. "Dating tips? Really? I don't know, Lily. I feel like I've tried everything." "Just hear me out," Lily said, her tone serious now. "I've put together a list of 5 tips that I think could really help you. And who knows? Maybe they'll make all the difference." Mia hesitated, but she could see the genuine concern in Lily's eyes. She knew her friend only wanted the best for her, and maybe, just maybe, she was right. Maybe it was time to try something new. "All right," Mia said, finally giving in. "What are these magical tips?" Lily smiled, clearly pleased that Mia was willing to listen. "Okay, here's the first one: be authentic. In a world where everyone is trying to curate the perfect online persona, being real and genuine is more important than ever. Don't try to be someone you're not just to impress a guy. The right person will appreciate you for who you are." Mia nodded slowly. That made sense. She had always tried to be herself, but she could see how easy it was to fall into the trap of trying to be what you thought someone else wanted. The second tip, Lily continued, is communicate clearly. Miscommunication is one of the biggest reasons relationships fail. If you're interested in someone, don't play games. Be upfront about your feelings and what you're looking for. And if something bothers you, don't be afraid to speak up. Mia thought about the times she had held back her true feelings, afraid of scaring someone off. Maybe it was time to be more direct. The third tip is set boundaries. It's important to know what you're willing to accept and what you're not. Don't compromise on your values or let someone treat you poorly just because you're afraid of being alone. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect. Mia felt a lump form in her throat. She had definitely been guilty of letting things slide in the past, hoping that if she just gave a little more, the other person would eventually see her worth. The fourth tip, Lily said, is take your time. Don't rush into a relationship just because you're lonely or because you feel like you're running out of time. It's better to wait for the right person than to settle for someone who isn't right for you. Mia sighed. That one hit close to home. She had been feeling the pressure of her age, as if there was some invisible clock ticking down the time she had left to find someone. And finally, Lily said, her voice softening, the fifth tip is trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore those gut feelings. Your intuition is a powerful tool, and it's there to protect you. Mia sat back in her chair, letting Lily's words sink in. They were simple tips, but they carried a lot of weight. Maybe she had been overcomplicating things. Maybe all she needed was a shift in perspective. Thanks, Lily, Mia said, her voice filled with gratitude. I think I needed to hear that. Lily smiled warmly. Anytime, girl. You've got this. Just remember, you're not alone in this. I'm here for you, no matter what. As they sat there, sipping their coffee and talking about everything and nothing, Mia felt a renewed sense of hope. Maybe the right person was out there, waiting for her. And maybe, just maybe, with these tips in mind, she would find him. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of change for Mia. She decided to take Lily's advice to heart and started implementing the tips into her dating life. She updated her dating profiles to reflect her true self, quirks and all. She stopped playing games and started being more upfront about her feelings. She set clear boundaries and refused to settle for anything less than she deserved. And then, one evening, as she was walking home from work, she bumped into someone, literally. She had been lost in thought, scrolling through her phone, when she collided with a tall, broad-shouldered man carrying a camera bag. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Mia said, quickly stepping back and looking up at him. He smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "No worries," he said, his voice warm and deep. "I should have been watching where I was going." Mia couldn't help but notice how handsome he was, with his tousled dark hair and a faint stubble that gave him a rugged look. But what really caught her attention was the way he looked at her, like she was the most interesting person in the world. "I'm Ethan," he said, extending his hand. "Mia," she replied, shaking his hand and feeling a spark of electricity at the touch. They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other, before Ethan finally spoke. "So, Mia, do you always make a habit of running into strangers, or is this a special occasion?" Mia laughed, feeling a blush creep up her cheeks. "Only on days when I'm not paying attention," she said, her voice teasing. Ethan grinned. "Well, in that case, maybe I should take you out for coffee to make sure you're more careful in the future." Mia's heart skipped a beat. Was he asking her out? She hesitated for a moment, then remembered Lily's advice, be authentic. She smiled and nodded. "I'd like that." As they walked to the nearest coffee shop, Mia couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement she hadn't felt in a long time. This felt different. This felt real. Their first date turned into a second, then a third. Mia found herself opening up to Ethan in ways she hadn't with anyone else. She told him about her dreams, her fears, and her past. And he listened, really listened, without judgment or pretense. One evening, as they sat on the rooftop of Ethan's apartment building, watching the city lights twinkle below, Mia felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. She turned to Ethan, her heart full. "Thank you," she said softly. Ethan looked at her, his brow furrowing in confusion. "For what?" "For being you," Mia said, her voice trembling with emotion. "For showing me that it's okay to be myself, and for making me believe in love again." Ethan reached out and took her hand, his touch warm and reassuring. "Mia, you're the most amazing person I've ever met. I'm the one who should be thanking you." As they sat there, hand in hand, Mia realized that Lily's tips had been more than just advice, they had been a roadmap to finding the love she had always deserved. And as she looked into Ethan's eyes, she knew that she had finally found her happily ever after. The video ends with a montage of Mia and Ethan's journey together, their first date, their first kiss, their first vacation. The screen fades to black, and the words 5 dating tips every girl should know in 2025 appear, followed by a heartfelt message. Remember, love is out there. Be authentic, communicate clearly, set boundaries, take your time, and trust your instincts. Your happily ever after is waiting.